Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Zyder here, and today we're doing a little bit of Dark Souls 2, and we're going to be getting towards the Lost Sinner fight. A fight that I enjoy both thematically and executionally. So as you can see here, we're just at the top of the Salt Fort bonfire now, and I've just summoned in a little bit of help. It's always nice to help try and get people those sunlight medals or whatever, because most of the time I run full human anyway. I generally never let myself fade into hollow just because I prefer the extra HP, and it drops the fact that you don't need to use the ring of binding. And yeah, you've got to do your bit of chivalry, you know, do your old drop bow and probably a bit of praising of the sun. But yeah, I'm actually really enjoying Scholar of the First Sin now. After getting over the initial sort of enemy swamp that was present initially, I'm really enjoying it. And it's definitely an improvement over the standard vanilla Dark Souls 2. So yeah, oh, pardon me. Oh, that serves me right for having coke before doing commentary. Anyway, sorry about that, very unprofessional. I am really chuffed with Dark Souls 2, to be honest. I didn't think I would be initially, because when I first played, I wasn't very happy with the fact that enemies were just swamping me. But then again, I've been playing a lot of Bloodborne, I'm used to faster paced combat. Not saying that Dark Souls 2 is slower based, because it can just be as quick. But here we're actually coming up onto a really interesting fact now, which is the ways in which bosses are now used and utilised. So instead of them just being bosses, you see Flexual Sentry guarding the Lost Sinner, which kind of makes sense now. It's a thematical sense it makes. The sentry is and was used to punish the undead. Well, let's just assume that the Lost Sinner is an undead hollow, then he makes sense to be down here rather than guarding the boat. He makes sense to be here because this is like the underwater salt fort. It's the prison which houses all the criminals. The Lost Sinner and all the other hollows that have been deemed to be locked in, which you can actually now pick that up from the lore. Even in one of these cells later on, you'll see that there's a Hyde Knight trapped down here. Perhaps he was found guilty on his way from Hyde. I don't know. Lore videos would be something I don't want to tackle because I just find that lore is so interpretable on a different basis. So as you can see, he's down here, and we're just beating the crap out of him generally. And it's just really good. I'm completely pleased with it. You might be seeing a few more videos. Next up probably will be Bloodborne, because I'm just about to get into Yaragul, which makes for a good video. It's a really wacky place to be. But here, alas, Dante wasn't quite ready for the Inferno, and he died. So I had to commemorate his death with a bit of a war cry. Oh well. But yeah, a little bit on my build. As you can see, I'm going full Elite Knight because it's still my favourite set from Dark Souls 1. And I'm going for what I call a kind of Templar build, so you don't use offensive miracles, such as Lightning Spear, Wrath of the Gods. You use things like Emit Force. Well, Emit Force is an offensive, but it's not a damage one, it's more of an AoE clear. But you're using things like healed, cleanses for the poison, etc, etc, or a lot more of the utility ones. Just makes you interesting because I do like to do a lot of summoning with it. So, for example, if I'm going into an area I've not explored, I'll just drop my summoning stein at the start of the area and I'll just run around with these people who've never played before. It's always interesting to sort of be that tank of the team, which is something I enjoy. So there you see, we've summoned one of the new NPCs, Spell Sword Lewis, which is just this, holy shit, this dual-wielding shield badass in Havels, which is pretty awesome. Which is another reason why I'd recommend that you go around in full human mode, because they've got more NPCs now to summon. Masterless Glencore, Spell Sword Lure, yeah, Cell Sword Lure, all these ones. They're just interesting because I know a lot of people play PS3 offline or PS4 offline, and sometimes for some boss fights you're just going to want to have a summon. So as you see here now, we're coming up to the Lost Sinners arena. Thematically awesome until Lewis ruined the shot, but anyway. Just this massive sort of, I'd say almost like a Colosseum, big fighting arena. Now, before people ask me why I'm doing this, what the purpose of this is, when you receive the Bastille key, is you open these doors and light these pitch lines. The main reason for that is and when Lewis gets out. God, fucking Lewis is ruining this video. Excuse my French. The ideology behind this is that when you fight the Lost Sinner, what she does is she immediately extinguishes all of the light within the arena, which cuts your lock-on range down to about 4 or 5 square feet around you. And because she's got a lot of dashing and lunging attacks, even with your gamma quite high, you'll know where she's gone, but because you lose lock-on, she's got a lot of wanky hitboxes, so she's going to hit you. So when I've lit these two, and you'll see in a moment when I enter the arena, which I'll show up for her boss entry. So normally, and that was a pretty badass intro cutscene there, this room would be pitch black, but as you can see, there's 2 bars, quote unquote, of light coming from the left hand side and the right hand side. This fully illuminates the arena. This makes fighting her, yes, it's a female, not a male. Reading the item description when it comes very mauling depicts her as a she, which is unusual because people would always assume the Lost Sinner to be male. But no, it's a she. And she pissed off, which is always interesting. And that is it. Now basically the only way I describe this fight is she's a bit of a slower paced Artorias from anyone who's played Dark Souls number 1 or Artorias of the Abyss DLC. Now Artorias was aggressive but almost chaotic. He didn't have a lot of telepathing and he just seemed to sort of throw abilities out. As you can see here with the Lost Sinner, she's just jumping all over the place. So Lewart's doing his job here, he's just walking around with his shield up, he's just tanking everything left, right and centre. But as you can see, with the light on, it's quite a dependable fight. We can do this, you can handle it. Soloing Lost Sinner though, which I probably should be doing rather than putting in clips of me fighting them with AI assistance. You basically just want to keep going around her right hand side. Most of her swings end on the right, and as you saw there quickly, an overhead swing box chopped me up from behind. A bit unusual. But other than that, it's basically the only way you do it. Wait for openings, but just make sure you keep an eye on her stamina because some of her sort of stunning combos will get you out of stamina. She's a bit like the Smelter Demon and a bit like the Pursuer like that in that if they stun lock you, you're dead. And on a quick side note, before the end of the fight, if Lucasile dies in Scholar of the First Sin, it doesn't end the quest. She will be in your next location, whereas before, pre-patch, she wouldn't be. It's kind of interesting. So, that's Sinner over and done with. Now as you can see, it's not that stressful when you've got help, which is why I always assume and tell people that summon. You know, go full human and summon. Even if you've got to clear the area out full hollow and then just quickly use an effigy, just go human. It's so much easier. So, next up, we're going to cut to my next area that I go through from the Lost Sinner. And that is, wait for it, yes, I go to Huntsman's Copse. A lot of people, because they get the fragrant branch of yore, assume that they should immediately go into the Forgotten Woods. I actually don't like going to the Forgotten Woods. I prefer Huntsman's Copse because I find the bosses a whole lot easier and they're just easy for farming. For example, this area particularly, you go straight into the Executioner's Chariot and then onto the Skeleton Lords. They're really easy to fight. I don't find them anywhere near as annoying to fight as Scorpioness Magica, Royal Rat Vanguard, all those ones. I find them a lot easier to fight. So this area, basically, the main problem here is that if you've got at least a shield that has full physical defense, you're fine. Most things in here are just undead hollows and they're sort of like petty bandits. As long as you've got 100% physical shield, these should not be a problem. As you can see, I'm using the Royal Kite Shield, which you buy from Steady Hand at McDuff, and that's it. You're sorted. And personally, I prefer to come to this area, which, for people who don't know, this is the Rotunda, or the Rotunda, before Hyde's Tower of Flame. So you go from Medulla down the stairs, and you'd normally turn right to go to Hyde's Tower of Flame. Now, if you fully spoke to Listia of Little, I think that's her name, and every time I say Little, I think of chocolate, so... Now, what she'll now offer you to do is pay 2,000 souls for a miracle which will spin the Rotunda round. Now what this allows you to do is enter Huntsman's Copse. Don't do this before you've gotten killed, lost in it, or else you'll be severely underleveled. Now, you could do this if you did run for items. Say if you wanted Ricard's Rapier, which I think I show you later on in this video. Or you wanted some of the unique stuff you can get from here, like the early kill on the Forsworn, which... The Forlorn, sorry, which is something I'll quickly touch on now. In Scholar of the First Sin, you're going to have a new invader, which is called the Forsworn. Or is it the Forlorn? I can't remember, it's one or the other, I'm afraid. Sorry for the patchy commentary there, but and they'll invade you quite a lot of times throughout the game, and basically killing them unlocks armor at the man who is petrified in the Lost Bastille. I forgot his name. Good lord, that's embarrassing. amount of hours I've put onto anything, amount of hours I've put into Dark Souls 2, and I can't remember one of the main merchants' names. Oops. Anyway, here you can see, standing on this ledge, if you peer over to the left, you can kind of see what Huntsman's Copse is full of. Hollows, scythe-wielding maniacs, and poison. And I was seeing in it that if that was a NPC summon, not a human summon, but it unfortunately wasn't. So, kick this tree over to make your life a bit easier. And here's a minor little shortcut. This is how you get to Ricard's Rapier, which a lot of people will have a sort of hate/love, because this is a weapon from Dark Souls 1, which a few of these weapons are from Dark Souls 1. In fact, quite a lot of them are. Ricard's Rapier or Ricard's Poke Stick, you've got the Boulder Bastard Side Sword, things like that. You know, they've not made it over, but essences of them have. So here you see Ricard's Rapier is now guarded by a giant gecko banshee thing. I can't remember what these are called. But basically, before, this used to be guarded by one of those halberd guys. The guy with like the iron cannon in his head. These are really easy. Like, if you get in those side limbs, they just stand and spin around. They don't actually fight you or attack you. But basically, as we're coming up to the end of the video, I'm going to be cutting this commentary off, and I'm going to let you enjoy the rest of this. So, the same things applied in every other video. If you've enjoyed my content, I want you to like and subscribe, please. It means a lot. Drop a comment in the comment section below. If you want to see more videos from any of the games that I've currently done on my channel, drop a comment, and I will see. If you get a lot of likes, or if you're the only comment about it, I'll do it. I'm pretty easy to please for a consumer that way. And other than that, I'm still working with Grant Gurden's creation, so GGC. I really would appreciate it if you went over there. It would put me over the moon. I'd just be happy. Tell them that Zyda sent you, and drop a like, drop a comment and a lot, and I'll be extremely happy. You'll help them out, you'll help me out. I'll be happy, and it'll just spur me on to create more videos. So with that in mind, remember people, stay safe, and I'll see you hollows in the next video. Peace.